This is a yoga strap, and today I am going to break down several ways that you can use this strap as a beginner in your yoga practice. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Morgan with Morganlee Yoga. Today we are talking about all things related to a yoga strap. I am going to break down several ways that you can use this in your practice, and then you can take what you learn here and use it as you go throughout your flows. First things first, what kind of yoga strap should you get? Yoga straps will come in several lengths, and what length you get really depends on your arm and your height. So you're gonna have to play around with that. I honestly don't think it's a big deal. If it's too long, you can always just like fold it up on each other. If it's too short, that's where you'll kind of have some problems. So I think I got this one as part of a kit and it's been fine for me. I didn't really do that much research into it. So don't be too picky there. What you do want to grab is make sure it has some kind of clasp on the end, either this loop kind that goes through like that or a buckle kind that you can actually buckle, because we want to be able to secure it if we need to. All right, so that is kind of the basics of a yoga strap. Now let's break down how we might use one of these. I have 5 different categories of how to use the strap, and then I'm going to give you several examples in each category. I'm going to move through these pretty quickly, so let's go ahead and get started. First of all, we can use a yoga strap to increase our arm reach. What does this mean? Well, just for starters, in a forward fold, if we cannot reach our toes, then we can use a strap and we can reach our toes that way. Now, this can be used also in several different poses where we have to stretch our arms. So coming into a figure 4, sitting up tall, you might want to place your strap through the buckle here, make it nice and sturdy, loop it around that foot, and then you'll grab onto the strap. Where you grab onto it is going to depend on your mobility, your flexibility. And then from here, if you're reaching your hand up and over, you would grab onto that strap here and find your side stretch here. This comes in great, especially if you are reaching this direction and you don't have that flexibility or motion. You can still get that shoulder opening here, pulling on this strap. It's a lot more comfortable for me to be here like this than it is all scrunched over. So that is how you would lengthen your arm reach for that. That can be applied to several different poses. If you are in a pose and you just can't get your arms quite to reach your toes or anything, then you would use that strap to bring a little extra length there. The second section would be shoulder mobility. So there's a lot of yoga poses that require us to either interlace our fingers behind or get into some kind of bind, and our shoulders just don't want to do that. So if we are in a bind and we're back like this, then we would bring the strap, fold it in half, grab one end with one hand with the other hand, and then find where you are the most comfortable, and then you would open up your shoulders that way, pulling the strap down. What this might look like in a bind of some kind. Let's go into our extended side angle. So we're coming here, you're in extended side angle. Your teacher says if you want to take the bind, take the bind. So that would look like this, interlacing your fingers here. Well, that requires a lot of shoulder mobility. If you still want to take the bind and you don't have that mobility, grab your strap, probably in your top hand first, and then put it behind, grab the bottom part with your other hand, and then you can still find that bind here. So that can go into several different poses. Then I'll give you one more example here, which is probably the most common that you see on the internet, which would be a dancer. So again, you'll want to loop your strap here, place it around your foot. And then you can bring it up to your shoulder here. So our dancer requires our back foot to come up. We shift forward and we are here like this. Normally you would reach your hands behind you, try to grab onto that leg somehow. But with the strap, you have the option of being here and not having to get into such a big back bend or having your shoulders going in weird positions that they're not ready for. So you can play around with shoulder mobility using a strap. A lot of those also went along with increasing your arm reach, like the dancer and stuff. So they kind of go hand in hand. You're just going to have to play around with it. If you're in a pose and you're like, I can't touch my toes or my shoulders feel really tight, maybe try using a strap. See what you can discover there. So let's go into lengthening our spine and getting your proper alignment in your spine. You can use a strap here as well. So let's try a pyramid pose. Bring your feet about 3 to 4 feet apart, and we're going to bring our strap. First of all, let's try it without the strap. So you'd hinge forward here, coming into a pyramid. Now, if you would notice, my spine is pretty straight here. But for some people, it's hard to get this motion here. They want to round through their spine like this. If you cannot keep your spine straight, this strap could come in handy. You put it in front of your hips here and pull it backwards. You might want to open it up depending on the length of your strap, and you're going to pull your hands backwards here. This is going to force your spine to stay straight. If my hands are pulled back like this, I cannot curve my back without also bringing my hands forward. So you'd pull this back behind you and then start to hinge forward from here. So this just forces you to have that correct spine position. Another place this might come in handy would be a boat pose. So here in boat, if we sit up tall, we want this long spine here, and we want to keep our long spine here. But if you do not have the core strength or the spine strength, you can be here, which is okay, but not as good as here. So what can we do? We will bring in our strap. Bring your strap underneath your feet, and then you're going to pull the strap back, straighten through your feet here, and lengthen through that spine there. It's going to take a little bit of balance. You're going to find that sweet spot, but your spine will be lengthened. You can use that strap to pull it up and find your boat there. It's kind of fun to play around with, especially if you don't normally use a strap. It might add a little extra balancing element that you're just not used to. All right, one more thing I want to mention with keeping a spine straight. So we mentioned in a forward fold that you could use this to reach your toes, and I showed you a version there. You can also use it to keep your spine straight in a forward fold. So you would bring the strap overhead and stretch it out wide like this. And then from here, keeping your spine straight, engaging those arms, keeping your strap straight, you start to hinge forward. This is a core activation. This forces your spine to round or to straighten, because if you round, your hands drop. So if you keep your hands up, it's straight. This is just a different form of forward fold. You can do this with legs together or your legs wide. So some things to think about there. Moving on to a different section would be to help you stay in the correct alignment in specific poses. So let's go through a few examples of what that might look like. So go ahead and loop your strap so it has a loop here, and we're going to put it around our legs. So bring your strap through the clasp, or clasp it together so it has a loop, and then put it around your legs, up in your upper thighs area. And then go ahead and tighten it. But you want to keep your knees about hip width apart here. So you don't want it too tight. You don't want to squeeze them in. You don't want to go whoop like that. You want to keep your knees open. And then you'll tighten it on this side so that it can't budge. It can't tighten or loosen. So find where that would be a good spot for you. Takes a little bit of practice here, but once you get it, it's pretty handy. All right, so this seems good for me. I can bring my legs in and it's loose, but I can't really open them up wider, especially if I bring it, you know, down here, then I can open up. But my feet are pretty stuck here in this hip width position, and that's what we would like. I might go a tiny bit tighter here for mine, just because it seems more comfortable. So that feels good to me. I cannot bring my knees out wide. So we are going to try a bridge pose here with this strap telling us where to keep our knees. So you get in your position, hands come down next to your side. Your legs cannot splay open. They are inward. If they come in too far, that strap will drop. So make that strap tight, push your hips up, and then notice how this changes your bridge. It might bring to light some areas. Maybe you were letting your legs fall out and you didn't realize it. So this can show you your proper alignment here. This can be transferred to many different areas. So keeping that around your legs, if you come up into a chair, we can use the same thing here. So if you want your chair to be about hip width apart, you'd keep them about where it is. Might have to tighten it just a little. And then you would sink into your chair and notice the difference it makes having this guide here. That's where we should be. And you can train your muscles here. I mean, of course, there's a lot of different variations of chair. So if you want to make sure your legs are going to stay close together, tighten that up. Keep your legs close together. So play around with that. You can do it in chair. You can do it in, let's see. We can also use this on our arms. Specifically in like a chaturanga. If you're practicing your chaturanga and you want to make sure your arms aren't going outward when you're doing your chaturanga, you want them to go straight back and stay in that position, you would use a strap for the same purposes. Bringing it up above your elbows, find that alignment, so you have to push that rope out. Make any adjustments you need to your strap here. It might take a little trial and error, but once you get it, it's going to be a really handy tool. And then you will feel your positioning here, and from here you can find your chaturanga push-up. It's a little bit hard to do that one up high, so maybe this would be better down low for your chaturanga. And then you can't move your hands. It's something, again, to play around with. If you are trying to practice a crow pose and you want to make sure you have those arms that aren't moving, this is great as well. I've never done crow with this on, so bear with me here. We'll try it out. So you would keep your hands here like this, nice and firm, pushing into that strap, and then find your crow here. So play around with using your strap to stay in the correct alignment. Now, with that being said, there's going to be a correct alignment, by the book alignment, that might not be the best alignment for your body. Anatomy plays a big factor in a lot of ways we get in and out of these poses. So if you are using this strap to keep your arms in direct alignment underneath your shoulders and it just is painful and it feels off, then that's worth exploring. Maybe your anatomy needs to have a little bit of elbow splaying or just widening that stance a little. All I'm saying is be aware of trying to be too perfect, because not everybody is made exactly the same. And based on your anatomy, based on your bone structure, and so many different factors will play a part in where and how your body should look in a pose. So use this with that caveat for finding the correct alignment. If you have the option to get advice from a local yoga teacher on the alignment that would be correct for your body, that's where I would start. Otherwise, get a mirror out, pay attention to how your body is feeling, and just play around with it. Use the strap as you can. So the last thing I want to mention is that the strap can also be used to deepen or find ease in different yoga poses. So for instance, a very common one would be to wrap it, come into cobbler's pose, come underneath your feet and around, and then over your thighs like this, and then you would clasp it here. And this allows you to have my strap's just a little bit too short for this, but I could play around with it and make it work. This allows you to be here in this reclined cobbler's pose. See, once I do that, I have plenty of space with my strap. So I could be here in my reclined cobbler's pose and have the extra support of my strap so my hips aren't feeling the pressure so much. So you can play around with using a strap in different poses to bring ease to your body. You can also use it to deepen your stretches. An example of how to use a strap to deepen your stretches would be in Happy Baby. You lie on your back and you pull your knees in towards your chest or armpit. If you have tight hips or tight hamstrings, it might not be possible to bring your knees in that far, or maybe you can't reach your arms up to grab your feet. This is a great opportunity to use a strap. Simply place it on the soles of your feet, and then you can pull downward and find that motion you're looking for. Another idea would be to use it in a hamstring stretch while you're laying on your back. This can come in handy if you have extra tight hamstrings and you need that extra arm reach, or if you want to deepen your stretch. For either of these poses, you use that strap to pull your knees in closer, to pull your leg in closer, and find a deeper stretch. And this can be transferred to several other yoga stretches. So use your strap, explore, and see what works for your body today. So throughout your yoga practice, you can use this strap to find ease. You can use this strap to deepen and go a little bit past your normal limits, and just use it to play around and have fun. Don't be afraid of the yoga strap. Our bodies are amazing tools, and it's going to tell us if we're using something wrong. So if you put it on and you're like, ooh, that does not feel good, I do not like that, then don't do it. If you are trying to reach your arm back and you're like, my body hates this, well, maybe I should use a strap. Let's try that. And so just kind of pay attention that way. So the moral of the story with the strap is, don't be scared of it. Have fun, explore, try new things. If you see a pose that's not accessible to you, how can you make it more accessible? By using a strap or a block. If you are in a pose and it feels extra hard, how can you find some ease? By using a strap. So ask yourself these questions, play around with it, use a mirror, see how it looks, see how it feels, use your intuition because you're pretty smart, and that's what yoga is all about. Turning inward, using our intuition to really discover what we are capable of. I only used a very few limited amount of poses here for my examples. There's an infinite number and different ways you can use this. So hopefully I gave you an idea that will spark a different way to use this in a different pose. Leave any comments down below. I'd be happy to help you out with anything specific that you are looking to use a strap for. Please make sure that you subscribe to this channel, and we will see you in our next video. Namaste.